Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Chris Nur, Chief Digital Officer of Synity, a world leader in enterprise data software, and we're partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers to bring you this series of interviews with thought leaders in data and analytics. Today, I have the great pleasure of talking with Atif Usman, Global Data and Analytics Director, Zimmer Biomet. Welcome to the program. Terrific to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Chris.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Looking forward to our conversation. So maybe if we could get right into some of your background. You've done a lot of interesting roles, deep background in analytics and BI, but your current role spans data analytics and data science. Can you just give us a sense of, what's the brief of your current organization, and maybe a little bit about what's the data and data operations scope and accountabilities versus the analytics and data science side of the house?
Sure. So from the data and data operations side, we have a data engineering team that's kind of consolidating all our data from our various ERPs and other sources. And harmonizing that data and making sure it is validated per our business needs. Now on the data science side of the house, we kind of have a separate team dealing with that with a different focus, right? This is to ensure that our business requirements are met, and we are actually bringing value to the business. And really, we're trying to grow that space right now on the data science side. So it's not fully mature, but we are in the process of, maturity.
Okay, no, thanks. That's interesting. And I think it's, I like it when I see organizations that have both of those married together, because it's been an observation in a lot of my thought leader conversations that, not having good data, not having data operations in place is a barrier when you want to take things out of the lab and scale them. So I think it's interesting that you've started with that kind of foundational data capability, and then as you mentioned, growing the data science and analytics capability. So kind of building on that, let's talk a little bit about your strategy, and maybe you could share a bit about what role does your organization play in driving data provisioning for large programs, say UDI or another industry imperative, versus improvements to data operations versus business ROI imperatives, as you talked about, and maybe you can touch a little bit on that question of how you have curated data sets, decide what goes into the lab, and then decides what graduates out of the lab, while at the same time, if I've understood correctly, you're also doing data provisioning for large, complicated programs.
Right, absolutely. So in terms of strategy, we have our key imperatives on strategy, which, revolve around data literacy, because I feel like that's important out from the visualization perspective in the business. Having a strong consolidated and curated data set, as well as working with the business to build up our analytics maturity, both regular analytics and advanced analytics. How we kind of balance between large programs and smaller day-to-day kind of initiatives is the larger programs obviously have a dedicated, team that we assign to those. We have a lot of focus on that versus on the regular kind of day-to-day programs. We have, our team, or maybe our data architecture team and our visualization team kind of focus on those. Versus the larger programs are focused on by our data engineering team.
Yeah. Let me pick up on one comment you made, which I think is an interesting distinction. And intuitively, I think I know what you mean, but for the audience, you made a distinction between regular analytics and advanced analytics. Can you just build on that distinction a little bit and maybe talk about some of the different challenges in doing regular versus doing advanced?
Right. So regular analytics is just your normal KPIs in various business functions, right? That the business may need to either operate, their day-to-day function, or help streamline some of their processes, increase profitability, et cetera, right? Advanced analytics is where we bring in our, machine learning type models, trying to get to predictive analytics. And really the difference there is both of them, you need quality data, right? Because without the good data, your output will not be, usable. So with the advanced analytics, obviously there's more, I would say, trial and error there, right? You got to have a way to fail fast to know that, if the use case that you're working on will truly provide the value that is required versus the regular analytics. It's pretty well defined, that, this is what is needed for the business. There's a lot of tried and tested models and use cases out there, across industries.